You know the feeling. It doesn't always start with something big. Sometimes it's just the phone ringing at the wrong time. The news repeating the same worry again and again. A loved one's silence. A memory that stings. And before you know it, your shoulders tense. Your thoughts speed up, and your body feels like it's bracing for something, even when nothing's actually happening. It's stress. Quiet stress. The kind that builds, not explodes. And when you're over 60, it doesn't hit the way it used to. It settles into your muscles, your stomach, your sleep. It shows up as forgetfulness, as fatigue, as a quick temper when you least expect it. For years, you may have pushed through it, but now, your body's asking for a different approach. Here's the truth. Your nervous system still knows how to calm down. It just needs the right cues. And those cues don't have to be complicated. They don't require expensive treatments, endless hours of meditation, or pretending that nothing gets to you. In fact, some of the most powerful ways to calm yourself down take less than 5 minutes and can be done anywhere by anyone. In this video, we'll walk through 6 easy, research-supported techniques that help you manage stress quickly and gently. They don't just distract you. They actually tell your brain and body it's okay to let go now. Each one is simple, but powerful. And chances are, one of them might just become your go-to in those moments where everything feels too much. We'll begin with the one thing you carry with you no matter where you are, something that works instantly, costs nothing, and responds to you every time: your breath. Breathing is the one thing we do without thinking, and the first thing we lose control of when stress takes over. It starts small. You're standing in line at the pharmacy. The wait is longer than expected. Your back aches. The person behind you is too close. You're trying to stay calm, but your chest tightens. And suddenly, it feels like there's not quite enough air. Most people don't notice it in the moment, but this is what happens. Stress shortens your breath. It moves it up into your chest, quickens the rhythm, and without realizing it, your body thinks it's under threat. Your heart rate rises. Your muscles brace. Your thoughts speed up, but the body doesn't just react, it listens. And the moment you begin to breathe differently, it starts to respond. Long, deep, steady breaths tell your nervous system, we're not in danger. You can come back down. That's why the 4-7-8 technique has become one of the most trusted tools in managing anxiety, panic, and emotional overload. Here's how to try it. Sit comfortably. Inhale gently through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly, completely, through your mouth for 8 seconds. Repeat 3 or 4 rounds. If the counts feel too long at first, adjust them. Try 3, 5, 6, or even just breathe in for 4, out for 6. The goal isn't perfection, it's rhythm. Even one slow exhale can interrupt the stress cycle. What's really happening is this. Your vagus nerve is being activated. Your parasympathetic calm system kicks in. Cortisol levels begin to drop. Your brain shifts from alarm to awareness. Cynthia, 75, started doing this every morning before reading the news. She noticed that the same headlines didn't hit her as hard. Her body stayed soft. Her mind didn't spiral. She kept doing it when she sat in traffic, when her doctor was running behind, or when she felt old frustrations starting to bubble up. And over time, her body learned we can respond without overreacting. The beauty of breath work is that no one has to know you're doing it. You don't need space, silence, or special skills. You just need a few moments and a willingness to slow down. Next, we'll explore something that goes even deeper than breath. Something your body responds to even when your thoughts are too loud to hear. Touch, weight, and grounding through physical pressure. Sometimes, calm doesn't come from breathing. Sometimes it comes from being held. Not by someone else, though that can help too, but by yourself in a way that tells your body, you're here. You're safe. You're not floating away. Edward, 78, never considered himself a touchy-feely person. But after a long day at the hospital with his wife, he came home and sat down, exhausted. His heart wasn't racing. He wasn't panicking, but something inside him felt untethered. He didn't want noise. He didn't want food. He just wanted the feeling of being grounded. Without thinking, he pulled a folded quilt over his chest and wrapped it around his shoulders. not for warmth, but for weight. And slowly, as he sat there, still wrapped quiet, his breathing changed. His thoughts slowed, his shoulders dropped, and for the first time that day, he felt like he had come back into his body. That's no coincidence. The body responds deeply to pressure and contact, especially on the upper chest, arms, shoulders, and thighs. These areas are full of nerve endings that communicate directly with the brain's stress system. When they feel steady, consistent touch, or weight, they send a message that shifts everything. You're not in danger. You can let go now. You can do this in dozens of ways. Gently press both hands over your chest, one over the other, and hold for 30 seconds. Wrap a shawl, scarf, or throw blanket tightly around your upper body and hug the edges inward. Sit upright and press your feet firmly into the floor while pushing your palms gently into your thighs. Hug a pillow across your chest and lean forward into it, allowing your body to soften. If lying down, place a folded blanket or a light pillow over your torso and feel the weight settle you. No one sees it, no one hears it, but your nervous system does. Some people use weighted blankets at night for this same reason. But it doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be intentional. Edward made it part of his evening routine. Not every day, but on the ones where his mind felt scattered and his emotions were stretched thin. And what surprised him most wasn't how fast it worked, but how reliable it became. Because this wasn't comfort. It was containment. A way to stop leaking energy. A way to say, I'm not falling apart. I'm just tired. And I can hold myself for a little while. Now let's look at a different kind of release. One that doesn't require quiet or stillness. In fact, it might ask you to shake things up just a little, because the next path to calm is movement. Some stress doesn't want to be soothed. It wants to be shaken off. Have you ever noticed that after a tense conversation or just a long, restless day, you feel like your body is buzzing? You can't sit still. Or you feel heavy, but your heart is racing. There's no clear reason, no one event, just that inner sense of I don't know what to do with this. That's not just in your head. That's your nervous system looking for a release. When we feel under pressure, our muscles brace automatically. We clench our jaw, tighten our fists, curl our toes, lock our shoulders. It's the body preparing for action, even if no action ever happens. And if we never release it, that tension builds into headaches, digestive issues, brain fog, fatigue, irritability that shows up in the voice without warning. One of the simplest, most effective ways to clear this physical backlog is through movement. Not exercise, not a long walk, just quick, intuitive motion, like your body is exhaling through your limbs. Here are a few to try. Stand and shake out your arms for 30 seconds. Let them go completely limp. Raise your shoulders to your ears and drop them sharply. Do this 5 or 6 times. While seated, tap your feet quickly on the floor like you're running in place for 10 seconds. Open and close your hands rhythmically. Squeeze and release. Stretch your arms overhead, then flop them down to your sides and exhale audibly. These movements may seem silly. That's okay. You're not performing. You're processing. Even animals in the wild shake after a stressful encounter. It's a built-in mechanism to reset the nervous system. Gloria, 73, started doing this in the kitchen. Whenever she felt overwhelmed or tense, she'd pause, put both hands on the counter, and then give her shoulders a good shake. At first, it felt strange, but within seconds, her thoughts slowed. Her breath deepened, and she could continue her day without carrying all that extra static. The science is simple. Movement increases blood flow. It metabolizes cortisol, the stress hormone, and it brings your awareness back into your body. Especially for those who feel numb or disconnected, a short burst of motion can be like opening a stuck window. And for those who can't stand or move easily, don't worry. Even tapping fingers in rhythm, rolling ankles slowly, or swaying side to side in a chair can unlock the same effect. Now that we've moved the tension outward, it's time to turn inward and soften the thoughts that fuel it. Because the next technique isn't physical. It's about what you say when no one else is listening. Some storms aren't loud. They don't come with yelling or slammed doors. They come with silence. with pacing, with shallow breathing, with thoughts that spin but never land. Susan had always kept her emotions close. She was the one who stayed calm. But lately, she noticed something odd. She was always tired. Her jaw ached. Her stomach felt like it was constantly bracing. She told herself, "I'm just overwhelmed." But when her daughter asked, "What's wrong?" she couldn't answer. Not because nothing was wrong, but because she hadn't named it yet. Here's something science knows well. Emotions that stay unnamed stay stuck. When you're stressed, but don't acknowledge the feeling, your brain keeps searching for the source. It stays in alert mode, scanning, guessing, bracing. And that keeps your nervous system on high alert. But when you stop and name the emotion, clearly, simply, honestly, you allow the brain to process it instead of protect against it. This is known as name it to tame it. It doesn't mean solving anything. It means saying something like, "I feel anxious and I'm not sure why. I feel unseen. I feel overstimulated and I need quiet. I'm sad and it's okay to feel that way. I'm not in danger. I'm just overwhelmed." You can whisper it. Say in your mind. Write it down. What matters is the recognition. Susan began practicing this quietly. Each time her heart started racing or she felt her voice rising, she would pause and ask herself, "What's actually going on inside?" At first, the words didn't come easily, but eventually, she noticed a shift. The more accurately she named what she felt, the faster it softened. That's because naming is a form of connection, and stress often thrives in disconnection from ourselves. This doesn't require therapy. It requires attention, a willingness to speak to yourself with clarity, not judgment. Now that we've slowed the thoughts and softened the inner tension, let's add something steady, something you can return to every day, even when life isn't chaotic. Because the final technique is about rhythm and about what happens when you build your own place of peace. So people call it routine, but the body knows the difference between what's automatic and what's sacred. Patricia, 70, used to move through her days with quiet momentum. Breakfast, dishes, a walk, a little reading. But after her husband passed, even simple tasks started to feel hollow. The schedule was the same, but it wasn't grounding her anymore. It was just filling time. Until one day, she made a cup of tea, not to check off a box, but to sit quietly in her sunroom, watching the light change on the floor. She stayed there longer than she planned. And something about the way the steam curled upward, the warmth of the mug in her hand, made her feel present. That moment became her first ritual. Rituals are different from routines because they carry intention. They aren't about getting something done. They're about reminding your nervous system that you are safe, steady, and here. And for people over 60, whose lives may have slowed externally but still feel turbulent inside, rituals are more important than ever. They signal you're still in control. You still matter. You still know how to care for yourself. These don't have to be spiritual or elaborate. They just have to be yours. Here are examples of gentle, calming rituals. Lighting a candle every evening before dinner. Sitting with your pet for 5 full minutes in silence. Washing your face slowly at night, whispering, "You did enough today." Taking a short walk after breakfast. Looking at trees instead of your phone. Playing the same instrumental track before bed while stretching gently. What matters is the meaning you bring to the moment. Patricia eventually added more. A phrase she whispered before answering stressful phone calls. "I choose calm over control." And every Sunday, she took 10 minutes to journal. Just 10. But those 10 minutes shaped her whole week. Rituals work because the nervous system thrives on pattern, rhythm, and predictability. They become islands of peace in a sea of unpredictability. And over time, they don't just calm you in the moment. They build resilience, a quiet strength you carry with you into the chaos. And now, let's go one level deeper. We've talked about the self, your body, your thoughts, your inner signals. But there's one more piece we can't ignore. Because no matter how calm you become inside, connection is often what makes it last. There's a kind of stress that doesn't come from bills or deadlines. It comes from silence. From too many hours without a voice calling your name. From too many meals eaten alone. Walter, 82, never thought of himself as lonely. He had hobbies, a garden, his favorite chair. But one afternoon, after 3 days without a single real conversation, he found himself feeling tight-chested, foggy, and restless. He made tea, took a walk, turned on the radio. Nothing helped, because the body doesn't just need breath, movement, or calm. It needs connection. Studies have shown again and again that social isolation increases cortisol, disrupts sleep, worsens inflammation, and reduces immunity. And for older adults, isolation isn't just common, it's often invisible. You can feel surrounded and still be alone. But here's the hopeful part. You don't need deep conversation or a house full of people. Sometimes, one moment of connection is enough to tell your nervous system, you belong. You matter. You are not forgotten. Here are gentle ways to invite that connection. Call someone just to hear their voice, not to update, just to connect. Sit on a porch or bench where you might casually greet others. Send a voice message instead of text. Write a letter, even if you don't send it. Just thinking of another person softens your inner world. Join an online community, even quietly, to feel part of something. Walter started waving to his neighbor each morning. Then, one day, she waved back and asked about his roses. That turned into a 10-minute chat. A week later, she brought cookies. And the following Sunday, they had tea together. It didn't erase his grief, but it interrupted his isolation. And in that space, his breath returned to normal. His thoughts cleared, and he felt human again. Because no matter how strong we are not meant to carry life alone. Connection doesn't erase stress, but it helps you hold it with softer hands. Now, let's bring it all together. We've explored 7 easy, powerful techniques for calming your body and mind when the world feels heavy. Breath, to reset your internal rhythm. Gentle pressure and touch, to bring you back into your body. Small movements, to release hidden tension. Naming emotions, to shift from chaos to clarity. Soothing self-talk, to replace judgment with compassion. Daily rituals, to create rhythm and resilience. Connection, to remind you that you still belong. Choose one, just one. Use it today, even for 2 minutes. Then notice what shifts. And if it helps, come back to it tomorrow. You don't have to master calm. You just have to remember it. It's already inside you, waiting. If this video helped you in any way, please leave a comment. Share which technique you'll try first. Let others know they're not alone in this. And if you haven't yet, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more. Because you deserve calm. You deserve support. And we're here with you, always.